And here we go. Welcome all to IFB Exclusive. I'm your host, New York Pete. I hope you're ready for the inside track. Our special guest with us today is MANOLI Ioannidis. And welcome to the show. MANOLI, thank you so much for taking the time out. I took the liberty and I grabbed some of the best picks that you have out there floating around the world of the internet. And there's one of them. You were on set on The Equalizer. You've done a whole bunch of different things in the world of TV and movies. You've actually worked with me on a project as well. But before I have you talk about yourself, I just want to make sure everybody knows a little bit more about you. So you're an award-winning Greek-American actor who has appeared in a variety of film, TV, and theater productions. You also do some teaching as well. You graduated from the William Esper Studio in New York City. And interestingly enough, you also have an MBA from the University of New Orleans.
That is correct. That is correct. You're quite the sleuth, Pete.
Hey, listen, that's part of getting the exclusive. And man, you one of the recent projects that you had was on the Penguin. You played El Jefe, so we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you're gonna I'm gonna try to tease out some exclusives out of you. But one of the things that a lot of the fans want to know, at least on this show, and in terms of IFB and Interfleet Broadcasting, is are you a sci-fi fan? Do you believe in the archetypes that Batman and the superheroes? There you go. See? All right, cool, man.
Although I'm posing a little, I do like Star Trek. I'm not as well versed as with Star Trek as I am with Star Wars. I know I'm probably putting a knife in some people's hearts with that one, but but yeah, I'm a Star Wars nerd. I love Star Wars. That's my go-to. But I get down with Star Trek though. I do enjoy it as well. Just I'm not caught up with all of it, unfortunately.
All right. Well, then you know what? Since we brought that up, what is as an actor, and I know you're SAG-AFTRA. As an actor, would either one, in terms of you choosing, not that they call you, but you had a choice, right? Your agent comes to you and says, here, equal pay, equal lines, good character, Star Trek, Star Wars, but you can only do one because they're shooting at the same time. Could you make that choice?
So I could make the choice, although current day Star Wars has been quite a bit of a letdown. I'm not sure if I'm really behind the the way that Disney has been going with a lot of the stories, but I have hope that it will correct itself in due time. And I mean, look, I'd love nothing more than to be a Jedi one day.
Oh, there we go. So there's the exclusive.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, look, the fact that Disney has, owns now the franchise, there's so many possibilities. They just released a new series. I just started watching it.
Skeleton Crew, yeah.
Yes, Skeleton Crew. And we've talked to others that have said they've compared it to The Goonies.
And I haven't started it yet, so that's hopeful. I like that.
It is. And I'll tell you, I went in, I was very skeptical. I started it last night, and I think it's so far so good. And there's so much stuff that's out there to watch. But you've been busy. You've been busy working on quite a few different programs. And let's see. I want to delve in a little bit on. Now I'm going to have you up to. There we go. So this was Equalizer as one of, and that's a franchise in and of itself, right? The original Equalizer from the 80s with Edward Woodward is one of my favorites. And this one is good too. What was it like doing this?
So this was with Queen Latifah, not
Yep.
the Denzel Washington version. I mean, both great, but Denzel, I mean, it's kind of hard to top him, especially as the equalizer. So, no, it was a great experience. This was an interesting role, to be honest with you. It was a non-speaking role, which I mean, not to sound like I'm above any role, but I just wasn't as gung ho about it, being that it was a non-speaking character. But I wound up being all throughout that episode,
Oh,
albeit
that's cool.
pictures, and they're kind of following me around and whatnot. But the good thing about that is that because it was a non-speaking role, and because time has gone by, I'm actually getting new auditions for it. So
Oh,
fingers crossed. I'm hoping
excellent.
to get back on it. And I mean, that's how showbiz is, especially with these oh my god, but not episodic. Anyway, with these network TV shows, especially like Law and Order, I mean, they can't you can't expect not to be able to work on it again. I mean, it's been going on for
That's great.
30 years. And
Well,
the reboot of
syndication
that.
is like a sort of a thing. So that's great.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah. But I was the right time, right fit for it. The character's name was Zeke something. He has a last name, but AKA Ponytail Man.
Yeah, ponytail man. That's great, man. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
That is
so it was
another
really cool. Queen Latifah is awesome. I mean, she's kind of I mean, there's a reason they call her the Queen.
All right, so Manoli, look, actor, producer, director. I know that part of your credentials are you are an award-winning actor,
Yes.
but you produce and direct. So you got to tell us about that part of yourself.
Yeah, so and this is something that I want to get more into, honestly. But yeah, there was a time, a few years ago, that some friends and I from acting school, we started producing our own short films. One of them actually, a friend produced, and I acted in, which is the one that I had won an award on. We had done this movie called Vax. It was kind of post-apocalyptic. It was around COVID, so very, very silly concept to it, but it was fun. It was a great ensemble piece, but yeah, I directed one of the short films that we also did as well. But I want to actually get more into writing too. I think I might have mentioned this to you in the past, but there's some horror scripts that I'd like to do, and also some period pieces involving Greek American culture, and kind of showing the best and the worst of both worlds. So these are the things that I've been kind of getting excited about recently. But along the way, I keep on auditioning. There's a great TV show that's going to come out next year that I unfortunately am not privy to. I'm not privy to much about it because it's all really under wraps. But I did work on an untitled Vince Gilligan TV show that is sci-fi. That
Excellent.
maybe we'll talk about again if
Yes.
you have me on
Yes.
after it comes out. So it
Awesome.
looks really cool. Again, I don't even know even if I wanted to tell you information about it. There's not much that I could tell you because I don't know other than my part in it. But yeah,
So perfect. That's
yeah.
great. It's another scoop. We love it. That's why we have you guys come on. We love this. Now we can't ignore this, right? This is the
Yeah.
elephant in the room. Penguin El Jefe. You're actually in the Batman wiki.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, that's it right there.
Cool,
This is
official. Yeah. Look
there
at
it
that.
is.
Look at
Right
that.
on the all the way, we're looking at it on the right. I pulled that right from the wiki. So you are in part of the lore of Batman now as El Jefe.
Oh yeah. Look at that. I didn't even know that. That's really cool. Yeah, honestly, this was it was a bittersweet experience. It was bittersweet in the sense of, like, I mean, obviously when I got the audition for it, I wasn't sure that it was for this.
Oh, Interesting.
I had a hunch that it was, because again, it was very like hush hush. It shot under the title Boss.
Oh,
So
okay.
you didn't know it was the Penguin. I didn't know if the Penguin would be in my scene or not. But originally there was dialogue with what I did, and I had this nice scene where tattooing the guy. I don't know what we want to say or not say about the scene, but in any case, I'm tattooing him. He's complaining that I'm inking him too hard. So I kind of tell him, hey, relax. I haven't even started putting coloring yet. So there's a little back and forth between me and him. A guy comes in, starts shooting up the place, and I dodge the bullet, or whatever the case was. So I get the email from my manager saying that I booked this, and that's all I read. I'm like, DC Universe, I'm in. Like,
Of course, yeah.
and she writes me back. She's like, "Hey, I just want to make sure you read that they've changed this again to a non-speaking role." And I kind of told myself, I mean, I'm not in this. We're not in the silent movies anymore.
Yeah.
We have words when we do acting roles now. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm still gonna take it, because I knew. Well, at that time they were talking about this being a mini series. It was towards the end of it. The strike was looming. I'm like, I got to get something under my belt to kind of feed the beast. And who knows if I'll get another chance to audition for this before it ends. So I'm like,
right.
I'm taking it. Fast forward to shooting. Well, the director's like, hey, she's talking to the other actor had a bigger role than I did, obviously, So she's like, hey, you remember we had some dialogue here, and luckily he remembered it. And I'm like, yeah, he did, and so did I. Remember, so I brought up my lines again. She's like, oh yeah, that's good. You remember your lines? I'm like, of course. It's like, throw yours in there too. And in the end, I still wasn't in the favor with the editing gods. The way that they shot the scene and the way they cut it, you would think I was an extra, but in all, but that's how it goes. I mean, sometimes you'll have pages of dialogue, and your character gets edited out. So I mean, you never know how this thing goes. But
yep,
I got to meet the man. Colin was probably the nicest actor / executive producer that I've ever worked with. I mean, he came up to me, and it was scary because he was in his penguin suit,
wow,
bubbling, looking scary with his scars and all that, and then he's talking with his Irish accent, very pleasant and polite. Hey, my name is Colin. Nice to meet you. I'm kind of floored. I'm like, I know who you are. Like, I'm surprised you even like took the time to say hello. But that's he was great. He was just a humble human being that was happy to have his cast and talent there to work with him, and it's great. But man, he flips it like this. Like, he goes from sweetheart to just scary bad penguin.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where it wasn't even acting on my part. So the way that they had shot the scene, or the way that they put it in on the final product, the on the show, is they wound up showing it where you see the back of my head, and we're seeing the Ari, I forget his name, the guy who has the headphones on. He's oblivious to what's happening behind him, and the penguin comes in and he's just shooting up the place. Well, nobody warned me that there's gonna be, a gun with blanks.
Oh, really?
I feel like they should have done that, to be honest. Whatever. So all of a sudden, we're like, all right, in action. I'm doing the tattoo scene, and then I just hear boom, 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 boom. I'm like, holy smokes! Like, I mean, I didn't have to act. I was scared. And next thing you know, there's like bullet casings flying at me, like hitting me on. One hit me on the back. They were falling at my feet, and I turned around and I'm like, like, don't shoot me. And to the point where the director was like, hey, a little less method acting and a little more imagination. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm truly terrified, ma'am. So, but I do have some of those casings left.
Oh,
I picked them up.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
cool. So
Uh,
did they do did they another take on that?
oh
On
yeah,
that?
we did multiple takes. It's just and we did somewhere they showed me and my reaction as well. But ultimately, I think because of the fact of like just, I mean, they barely even showed the penguin in that scene.
Mhm.
They just kind of showed the chaos and they focused on the the guest star. Why am I blinking on his name? I feel like his name is Ari. He's the Persian kid who's
Cool.
the Falcone's son.
Okay.
But in any case, they focus on him and his obliviousness to it all because he has his headphones in. I don't know how the hell he's not hearing, his cannon going off. And so, yeah, and it was a cool shot. Don't get me wrong. But as a result of the cool shot, I got screwed on my footage. So, but hey, well, it's what we do for art, right?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. And speaking of that, I'm going to show you a an image that you haven't seen, and there it is.
Oh, look at
That's
that.
from the Tower Protocol Resurrection.
That's what I want to see.
That's
That's what
my
I want
film
to
that
see.
you
That's a
we're very
great shot.
grateful. We appreciate you taking the time out and coming down and helping us out with my short
Of
that
course, of course.
we're very close, Manoli. We're about I'd say 95% picture lock. So we've been working really hard. It
All
looks
right.
great. And I have one more, which obviously hasn't been released. And
Oh,
that's,
look at that. That's
yep.
cool. That's really cool. I like that. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
These
So,
whenever it becomes official, these are going on IMDb as well. This is really cool.
yeah, that's a great shot, man. We
Yeah,
pulled that
yeah.
one right out from the actual, um, uh, the, uh, it's from one of the dailies that we had, that we screened, in editing. And I took that one. I was like, I gotta have this because Manoli's it's just you got it on. It's the look. You're in the character, right? So
Oh yeah.
yeah, we put in
That
some
was a lot of
special
fun.
effects.
That was a lot of fun. I can't wait to see. I especially I can't wait to see our friend that's we're seeing the back of his head
Yes,
here.
George.
But yeah, I can't wait to see George
Oh
in
yeah.
his getup.
Oh yeah, and we're blessed that we have the Tipsy Toaster, Chris Moore, who's doing he's doing the editing, and he's bringing all his skills. So After Effects and Unreal Engine, but for your scene specifically, we actually have special effects that go in. So
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god, it's really cool.
Nice.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. You're gonna be proud of that. That it's you have a few lines. It's a critical character. It moves the story, and it's really cool. Eventually, we'll probably be doing something with a backstory with your character. So that might be in the works. We do have an audio drama for the backstory on Colonel White. So he's the
Oh,
one
nice.
that's watching all of this. So there's things happening. This is, of course,
Great.
going out to festivals, and I am very, very grateful that you were a part of the Tower Protocol. So thank you, Manoli, for you without hesitation. I spoke to you about it, and you came right on. And I believe that you had done the Penguin right before this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Done the penguin because that was shortly after, if I remember correctly, shortly after the strike had been lifted. So things were kind of dead for a while for
yep.
a lot of us.
Yep.
So
And yeah, we got a waiver, and you were good with it, and I really appreciate. So it's happening. It's happening. But I want to know a little bit more about what your craft, right? How do you actually keep it going in times like these? I mean, it's not often, but sometimes people don't get there aren't a lot of jobs, or for whatever, you do auditions, but how do you keep it going, Manoli? What's that about?
So yeah, I mean, and that isn't the sexy answer. You kind of hit on it a little bit. I'm very fortunate that I get quite a bit of auditions. So that does keep me on my toes in terms of, I mean, every time you do the auditions, okay, granted, you're not necessarily acting with another actor per se. At least I don't get the fortune of doing that. It's just a lot easier. Honestly, my poor wife, she probably hates me now for it, but I'm fortunate that I have her because, you know, we can do it at a moment's notice, which is, you know, it's hard to get someone else on standby to help you out, you know, especially with the quick turnaround that you have. So from that regard, I do stay sharp from that. But I do like to, you know, I do like to develop my own things. I recently did a sketch with some friends who they're in the like TikTok, Instagram world. But, you know, for me, I apply my craft to all that. It's like I don't dumb something down just because of the medium or the platform. I feel that something is going to be good if it's believable. Ultimately, that's what it boils down to for me. If I don't feel like what I'm doing is believable or I'm not making it believable, then I haven't achieved what I set out to do. So that's what it becomes for me. So in everything that I do, I ultimately turn to that. But I did also do a play recently at the Hellenic Cultural Center here in Astoria, which was really fun. It was this play called Lysistrata White House. It's an original piece by the kooky Alex that runs the
Okay.
Cultural Center. He's a great guy. Just his imagination is wild. But he basically took the ancient Greek play of Lysistrata, which is about the wives of the Athenians and the Peloponnesians that were at war at the time. They ultimately put an end to the war by going on a sexual strike to convince their husbands otherwise. And this was written in like 446 BC, if my numbers are correct.
Wow.
So he took that and he put a modern day twist on it in that I played the president of the United States, and ultimately I'm about to declare World War III. Oh. And so my wife and son kind of come up with this idea. Well, actually, not even my wife. So my wife and the first ladies of the different nations that happen to be visiting the White House that day, because it's the General Assembly, the UN General Assembly. And they're like, hey, we got to stop this. This is what we can do. And, you know, not to give the play away, but that's how it.
So definitely a comedy.
It's definitely a comedy, 100%. Yeah, don't. We're actually trying to get it off Broadway now, or off Broadway. So if that happens, I'll definitely let you know. But yeah, it was quite comical, and what's cool about the way that we did that, which is a little unusual, is that it was all improvised. It's we have like a structure in terms of, you know, what beats we need to hit, but the lines may not come out the same.
Oh wow!
Media dell'arte. It's like it's another form of acting that exists. It's not as popular. I mean, it's quite stressful, to be honest with you, because, you know, you're worrying about, you know, like, am I going to remember what to say because it's not the same. But yeah, I just try to engage myself in whatever creative endeavors I can with acting, with writing, producing, anything like that. I mean, that's ultimately how I get by. But auditions do help out a lot. That was a very long-winded answer today.
No, that's what we're looking for. We want to get into the nitty-gritty. As a matter of fact, it's, you know, sometimes it's taken for granted that being able to go from theater to TV or to film and vice versa is not something that all actors can do. And I know for a fact that you have that ability. I got to see you on stage at the center earlier part, I believe, of the summer of 2024, and you were in a play. And it was similar. So like, it seemed like you guys were flowing kind of freely with dialogue, although it's set in your story. And it was about a Greek American that goes back to Greece and immediately tries to get like a job and encounters your character, and it was funny. And
you guys were Dinner for Schmucks. We did a rendition of Dinner for Schmucks, which that was, I mean, talk about, I jumped into that. We did that last year in Greek, full on Greek. And mind you, I mean, I speak very fluent Greek. You know, I speak natively, but I had never done a play in Greek, mind you. What now? The scapegoat for me was that my character was Greek American, and so if I ever got frustrated and like couldn't get it out, I would just blurt it out in English.
Yeah.
So that really helped me out. But I mean, 99% of my dialogue was in Greek. So, and then and on top of that, you add the commedia dell'arte improvisation. Forget it. I mean, talk about stress. That was stressful, but I like to do that to myself sometimes. I like to put myself in uneasy situations to see how it affects me physically, emotionally, and then just kind of let that out in my acting. Because again, ultimately, I think the only way to be believable is when you're truly feeling and you're truly in the moment, and it's never about you. It's about the other person.
Right.
And so I think if whenever you put attention on yourself, it's no good. I mean, you can't be believable because you're calculated. You're thinking. That's why you can't be thinking about your lines when the other person is speaking, because then otherwise you're it's garbage. You're not acting. You're just trying to remember your lines to blurt them out. So you just have to be in the moment, and the way to do that is just to put your focus on the other person or object if you don't have a person. So it could be what you're doing. So these are kind of technicalities that I learned from going to William Esper, which was a Meisner-based school. Meisner being one of the two acting methods that are very popular. You have the method, which is Strasberg, Stanislavski,
right?
And you have Meisner. And it's weird because they're both very similar, and they kind of like meet and maybe even intertwine at parts. But the main difference is the definition for acting for us is acting under acting believably under imaginary circumstances. The key word being believably and imaginary circumstances. So not to bore you, the whole imaginary circumstances thing is that, unlike method acting where one might be stuck in a character for 6 months and not break out of character, you can go in and out of it because you can use your imagination to get there. Like if my mom, like let's say the scene calls for a death of a family member, and the only way I can get there is because like I have to remember my mom's death. Let's say had she died, God forbid. That's very brutal for your psyche to have to relive that, and it does things to you, and I think sometimes it can lead you into a very dark place. Well, what we do as Meisner actors, we're like, well, you can achieve that by just adding a little tweak. It's like, imagine your mom were alive today. What would you tell her? What's the conversation you would have with her? And me just imagining this right now and telling you, I'm already getting a little teary-eyed. And my mom's still alive, but
yeah.
It's, I think you can achieve the same thing by just having an active imagination. And so these are the things that I work on to keep my craft alive. Is I like to daydream, and I like to see how far I can stretch my imagination without losing my mind.
So as we come to a wrap, because when we do the IFB exclusives, we kind of try to get the best of everybody that comes on, and we've kind of achieved that because you've given us insights on the craft, what you've done, how you've done. Where are you now in terms of the acting? Are you more on the theater side right now, or are you pursuing the TV or film? Where are you now?
Well, film and TV is always going to be my primary.
Okay.
It's just that obviously doesn't necessarily always depend on you. Not that theater does either. I mean, theater is hard to get a break into as well, but you can always, I guess with both, you can always create your own play or like, put on your own play, create your own thing. But in terms of where film and TV is always going to be my number one. That's always what I wanted to do as a kid. I mean, from watching things like Star Wars, which I have my dad to thank for that. Just that opened my imagination and made me want to be part of something. So film and TV is definitely the thing that I pursue the most. But the thing that's most fulfilling as an actor is theater. And so I'd like to do more theater going forward in general. I guess the issue becomes like, it's hard to make decent money doing theater. Whereas if you book film and TV, it's good money, even if it's not necessarily a big role. So it's kind of, it's kind of a hard question to answer. But I'm lucky in that I had this role that I booked recently. I just booked something else on an independent film that's going to be shooting in New Jersey next month.
Cool.
So I'll be there for 9 days, which will be fun. Yeah, so it's a little bit of both to answer, but more focus on the film and TV.
Well, we love it. Manoli, thank you very, very much for taking the time out. This is towards the end of 2024, one of our last exclusives for the calendar year. So thank you for helping us close it out. We continue to look forward to seeing you in your multiple different, films and TVs and theater that you do. And when the Tower Protocol comes out, Resurrection comes out, of course, we'll be doing more with that. But keep us in the loop. As right after that next sci-fi piece comes out, let's have you come on IFB Interfleet Broadcasting Regular, where we have more time and we can get more into some more of the details and what you did in that show as well.
I think you really like it, and I'll have plenty of dialogue in that one, but in Espanol, actually.
Oh, busted!
We might need to have some subtitles.
So look, that's the closing exclusive. I love it, Manoli. Thank you so much. Have a great holiday season and a great new year. We'll see you in 2025.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Happy holidays.
Fans Fuel the Fleet, guys, thank you for tuning in afterwards, sometimes in the thousands of plays. Enjoy Manoli's career, and there's more to it. So we'll see you later, and tune in on Thursdays for our regular show. Take care, everybody.